Prime time at the SEC tournament, and the quarterfinals are heating up in Hotlanta. In a season filled with ups and downs, Kentucky comes to town in a familiar spot, co-champions of the SEC East. Led by all-SEC first-teamer Tayshaun Prince, the Wildcats return to their home away from home, the Georgia Dome, where the Big Blue has won 3 of the last 4 tournament titles. No wonder they call it Catlanta. In South Carolina, they meet the league's best D. Last night, they used the inside play of Tony Kitchings and Carlos Powell to beat Ole Miss. One spot remains in the SEC Final Four, Kentucky and South Carolina next.
They go. Lob and a jam. Leaves it for Slay and a jam. Look at the jam. Are you kidding me? Tayshaun Prince. Wow.
The big boys are here. Our quarterfinal finale. The South Carolina Gamecocks advance to take on number 12 Kentucky here in their old Georgia Dome, which has been an old Kentucky home away from home for some time. Hello, everyone. Tim Brando by my side, Joe Dean Jr. You know all too well what this game means to South Carolina. The Gamecocks head coach Dave Odom in this tournament, he really appealed to his player, Tony Kitchings. He said, you know what, I'm going to start you, make me look good, and boy, did he ever.
Well, Tim, he really did. That was so impressive last night that Tony Kitchings stepped up and responded to the challenge as a starter. Inside scored, his presence was felt by the Gamecocks, and he really spurred the energy of the Gamecocks last night in the big win that they had over Ole Miss. Tony Kitchings, 16 points, 9 rebounds.
They do have the size to battle with the big, brawny, Big Blue, but Tayshaun Prince is a star, Joe, and this is his last opportunity to shine on this SEC tournament stage.
Well, some Kentucky fans would say that they have been somewhat up and down this year, but Tayshaun Prince has been the most consistent player for the Big Blue. He does it all. He passes, he rebounds, he blocks shots, he knocks down threes. Tayshaun Prince, clearly an All-American for the Big Blue.
And for Tubby Smith, an outstanding coach in the Georgia Dome, 8-1, and in the month of March, no one in this league has a better record. 23-5 of those conference tournament wins, NCAA wins en route to an NCAA championship. The march in March continues.
There's a light in your soul, says you're one of a kind. Don't never let it go. Be original, an individual, like Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Be you, do what you do. Be you, do what you do.
At Advanced Auto Parts, we believe in doing it yourself. So we made this commercial ourselves. Yeah, we're rolling. Go ahead.
3, 2, 1.
Robbie, can you come down here for a second?
We are still getting a raise.
Prices, not prizes. We don't have prizes. Do we have prizes?
Could I get that report from you, Margaret? And also, I will need you to come in again and work this weekend. Oh. So, what are you going to be giving Timmy for his birthday?
Something nice.
Good.
Financial freedom. It has its advantages. Jefferson Pilot Financial. Investments, insurance.
Current plan not working out?
What?
Alltel has one that will. Get into the game with an Alltel Total Freedom Plan and get nationwide calling starting at $39.95 a month. There's no roaming or long-distance charges across the U.S. Plus, you'll score a great deal on a digital phone. Alltel. Are you connected?
The 2002 SEC Basketball Tournament is being brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Be you. Do what you do. Dr. Pepper. By Alltel. Are you connected? By Advance Auto Parts, the best part is our people. By Jefferson Pilot Financial, investments and insurance for your financial freedom. And by your local Toyota dealers. The nationwide spring event, it's a good thing at your Toyota dealer now.
Welcome to Catlanta, and well-deserved the subtitle and the backdrop for this SEC Tournament quarterfinal. Here are your Don Pablo starting lineups. First for the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Chuck Dixon is a steel machine. He's got the size to make a difference in matching up against the Big Blue. Howell, Kitchens, Lucas, and Bradley, the rest of the starting five. And for Kentucky, the Wildcats look this way. Bogans, who struggled all year long, needs to ignite this team in the tournament. He's played well here before. Prince, Hayes, Kamara, and Hawkins. Dave Baker will be with you when we come back as the Big Blue try to put yet another imprint on their history at this tournament.
Wade here from Plank Road, where we're busy making the smooth, never watered down taste of Ice House, not ads. So today's commercial comes from Rob Wilkin.
Now that's a good beer.
We'll make the Ice House, you make the ads. There's a guy in that bottle.
Toyota's nationwide spring event is on, and that's a good thing. With incredible values on a huge selection, including the toughest nails Toyota trucks. Like Tundra. Now choose up to $2,000 cash back or financing as low as 1.9% APR for 36 months on Tundra. That's right, up to $2,000 cash back or financing as low as 1.9% on Tundra. Get to Toyota's nationwide spring event.
Swan, entrepreneur and NFL Hall of Famer, national recording artist Mars Day and the Time. Come experience national traveling exhibits featuring the Black Inventions exhibit and the African American Cinema Gallery exhibit. There will also be a community forum featuring members of the Legislative Black Caucus and city and county council members. That's Black Expo 2002, Saturday, March 9th, the Gilliard Auditorium.
What a surprise. The Wildcats lead in the series record, as they do in every series in this conference. Dave Baker has more on the emotion of this Kentucky team.
Tim, when you talk about the Cats and March, people say they've been here before, they know what it's all about, but sometimes when you've been in so many big games, you're not as emotionally ready as you should be, and that's been a problem for this team this year. Look for Tubby Smith to press some buttons early on to try to get this team into the emotional flow and take advantage of what sounds like, in many ways, a home crowd.
Absolutely. Of the 25,000 plus that are here, easily 19,000 of them are Wildcat fans. That's not unusual, but with Arkansas down and out of this tournament, there's really no challenge from any of the other fan bases throughout this conference to go up against Kentucky. And that's been the tradition really since the Razorbacks came into the league in '92.
And the Kentucky fans bought up the Arkansas tickets after their first-round loss yesterday.
And guess what? Georgia tickets are available after LSU's win this afternoon. The official attendance won't be ready until the second half, but
your point, Tim, is good. It's like a Kentucky home game here in the Georgia Dome tonight.
This is a Kentucky club that's had well-documented problems off the floor, frustration from veteran talent. There's Kitchens, wave it off. He took an extra step.
Well, the one thing you know about this game, it's the first time in the tournament that East has met East, where they have played each other twice. They know each other very well. Dave Odom knows that he cannot allow Kentucky to score 91 on his team as they did in Lexington. They lost 51-50 in Columbia. That's the game he wants here tonight.
And Hawkins threw up a prayer that was answered at the end of the game. Prince, every shot challenged by the leading defensive team in the Southeastern Conference, South Carolina. Lucas giving it up to Jamel Bradley, who struggled with his shot last night. Yet South Carolina able to win against Ole Miss.
South Carolina only 2 of 12 last night from three-point range. They need to knock down some threes here to have a chance against Kentucky.
Lucas steps up off the back rim. Kamara clears it to Hawkins.
I've always felt as good as Hawkins and Fitch play. That's the difference for Kentucky. Talk about all the veterans, but it's about the guard play for Tubby Smith.
And I know this is a bitter pill for a lot of Kentucky fans to swallow, but they miss Saul Smith. This is a team that could have used the consistency and the stability of Saul Smith from a year ago.
Well, you see the screen and roll here by Kamara. Hawkins draws the double team. Nice vision, over the top, hook pass. Kamara with the finish. Tim, you're right. You know what's interesting is that of the top 11 players in the league who made first and second team All-SEC, only one was what you would consider a true guard. Not one point guard made the top 11 All-SEC team, yet the point guard position arguably is still the most important position on the floor, especially in tournament times.
And by the way, I think Derek Zimmerman got jobbed. I believe he should have made at least one of the top 3 teams. Turnover.
Well,
and Dave Odom says, what was that? Okay, it'll go back the other way. He was pinched.
Tempo very important tonight. We'll watch that. Kentucky obviously wants to run. They want to shoot a lot and go get it on the glass. South Carolina wants to make it a half-court game. They've got to control defensive rebounding.
Backdoor cut. Hawkins would have counted had it fallen. And a push against Aaron Lucas.
Dave Odom did not like this call because it was made from way out front, but you see the body there on the drive by Cliff Hawkins, the up and under. He thought it might go.
And I think that Dave Odom had a point.
Well, there's an official right under the basket looking at that play, and that official does not make the call, the official outside, and that's why Dave Odom argued a little bit.
Tony Green, Tom Eads, and Rick Crawford, our officials for tonight's game. Hawkins at the stripe. Well, for South Carolina early on, 3 possessions, 2 turnovers, and a missed field goal.
And here comes the Kentucky pressure. They want to force tempo. You see the turnover there. 3 turnovers already by South Carolina. And Kentucky will force the issue with their defense and try to create a faster pace and some offensive easy opportunities for their offense.
Kamara up top.
Kamara has really played better in the second half of this season.
And Tayshaun Prince battling with Rolando Howell will pick up the personal foul. Howell got in the way. Almost had the turnover, and then when Tayshaun tried to challenge, he picked it up.
South Carolina's no slouch defensively. They'll do it with the half-court game, but they lead the SEC in steals, quick hands, very intelligent team, and well coached by Dave Odom.
There you see the possession chart not looking good early for the Gamecocks. Michael Boynton into the game. The dump down to Kitchings. Nothing doing early. Trying to get him on track, and Rolando Howell, very important to the Gamecocks. Prince. Howell coming over to challenge, picks up the foul. That's his first.
South Carolina cannot allow that type of penetration. Prince with the ball fake there, drives it with his strong hand. The left hand, no help by South Carolina. He gets it all the way to the rim, and you can be assured that Dave Odom will talk to his team about that defensive breakdown there.
Kitchings got the foul rather than Howell, his first. Prince at the free throw line. Jamel Bradley will come back into the game for Boynton. I think he's been struggling with his shot of late. To give him a moment. Hayes, that freshman has been one of tremendous influence from Modesto, California. Plays much larger than his 6'7" frame.
You talk about a guy who's come on late in the year. Chuck Hayes is that freshman.
Another turnover. Out of bounds. Kamara.
You see the miss right here by Tayshaun Prince in the tip. Chuck Hayes leads this team in offensive rebounding, only averaging about 15 minutes a game. And watch the great hustle by Kamara on the press. Stepped out of bounds, but his coach, Tubby Smith, will like the effort.
Itson up top. Bradley trying to run Bogans through a few screens. There he is. Howell double teamed in a hurry. Now the pressure defense is really there. Every pass is challenged.
Very active. You're right, Tim.
Bradley a three. Well, that breaks the ice for South Carolina. 7-3. Not quite 4 minutes deep. Hawkins. Gibson keeping it alive, out of bounds. Last touch by Lucas. It will belong to Kentucky.
Tempo in the favor of Kentucky, but the penetration by South Carolina creates the open shot. Jamel Bradley has more three-pointers than any player in the SEC. Knocks down another one.
40% from downtown on the year is Bradley. He struggled with his rotation last night. I've not seen that much arc on his shots. He's got 98 of them this year. More threes than anyone else, as you mentioned.
South Carolina zones the underneath out of bounds. You see a lot of teams do that. Zone to try to shut down the inside play and penetration. Force the outside shot, but get the defensive rebound.
Oh, nice defensive work by Petroficius, getting into the passing lane. Howell would have counted had it gone. Hayes picks up the personal foul.
Hayes bailed him out. Rolando Howell right there really didn't have anything, trying to force it on the drive. But nice job of getting himself to the free throw line. Chuck Hayes, the freshman.
Rolando Howell, Columbia, South Carolina native, Lower Richland High School. Well, that's produced a few talented players. That's high school.
Stanley Roberts, to name a few.
Blevins and Daniels are checking in for Kentucky. Tayshaun Prince and Hawkins take a seat. Caruth will also come into the game. Rashad Caruth, freshman out of College Park, Georgia. Big Blue out of the gates early with the defensive pressure. South Carolina have been shut out. They've got 5 unanswered now.
For the most up-to-the-minute insight on all your favorite SEC teams, log on to SEC. It's all there. Stats, standings, schedules, scores, rankings, records, and more. You can listen to weekly coaches' press conferences and watch highlights of past SEC championships. Get closer to the action than ever before with an exclusive free subscription to the SEC Insider and instantly access SECstore.com to gear up with all your favorite SEC team merchandise. So if you're into it, then get into it at SECsports.com.
Current plan not working out?
What?
Alltel has one that will. Get into the game with an Alltel Total Freedom Plan and get nationwide calling starting at $39.95 a month. There's no roaming or long-distance charges across the U.S. Plus, you'll score a great deal on a digital phone. Alltel. Are you connected?
Well, did you get it? Just picked it up. It's set up in the den. Boys, feast your eyes on the future. Whoa, nice. Yeah, it's got 3 cheeses, a grilled tortilla case, all standard, and then went for the upgrade. Wow, steak. Oh, the S-Class.
Marinated carne asada steak, 3 melted cheeses. Upgrade to steak with Taco Bell's new steak quesadilla, and think outside the bun.
Two SEC men's basketball tournament presented by Dr. Pepper. Quarterfinal finale between Kentucky and South Carolina. You know, Joe, this fan base that we see on hand in what they term as the Commonwealth Catlanta is very similar to what a lot of coaches are going to find in the first round with the new pods concept in the NCAA. You remember about hanging chads during the election year? Pods is the word in March because there are going to be a lot of teams playing very close to home. Kentucky could be one of those with a nice run in this SEC tournament. There are going to be a lot of angry coaches who will have to play games in what will be, in effect, home court advantages for the top seeds.
Well, neutral sites that are close to their home is what you're saying,
yeah.
and that's true. And I like the selection committee doing that. I think it's good that the fans who support the team all year can get a chance to physically see their teams play in the NCAA tournament.
I'll reserve judgment. Rolando Howell. Might have been a pass inside to Estel.
He'll go against Jamel Bradley, the foul.
Eric Daniels with a beautiful feed and a nice cut without the ball there by Marquise Estel. Young man who really has a lot of upside. He's about 6'10", long arms, can score inside, and I don't think we've seen the best out of this young man yet.
Going back to my point, there's a possibility, for instance, Pittsburgh as a top seed could be playing in an arena they played twice in their hometown.
I got you.
And I agree with you in principle that fans and particularly family members of players could drive to the
Right.
games. That's important
It
for
is
the student
important,
athlete.
no question about it.
Lucas double-teamed again. In traffic, gives it up.
Kentucky's defense is so active tonight. Very intense. They come to play here.
Gibson for three. Barely drew iron. Hayes outbattles Lucas, and Blevin looks for Caruth.
Itson three-point shooting would really give Dave Odom's team a bonus offensively.
Estel, not there. Out of bounds. Last touch by Kentucky.
Itson's the young man we talked about last night who does so many things on the floor. The coach, son of a coach, 6'7", can play the point, but that size also plays out on the wing and does a lot of things. He had 25 at Kentucky earlier in the year, went 6 of 10 from three-point land. If he could make some shots like that here tonight, Tim, it would really help South Carolina's chances.
Daniels on the floor now, dealing with Bradley. Dave Odom believes that Kentucky come this time of year is at an advantage because they've got the best distribution of depth both outside and inside.
I would agree with that. They can run a lot of players at you, more than probably anybody else in the league.
Pulled down by Hayes.
Estel now being fronted by Petrovic. Caruth in traffic, gives it up.
Bradley's trying to stay tight on Caruth. The excellent three-point shooter.
Nice entry pass again by Hayes to Estel, and Marquise makes it count.
Numbers.
Lucas has Petrovic with him. Well, he could have given that one up and did not. He does get bailed out by the foul. It'll go against Kentucky.
Kentucky showing excellent passing skills. You see the nice feed by Chuck Hayes. Estel with the finish inside with authority.
Eric Daniels picked up the foul, his first. And Lucas at the strike. So a really steady player from Richland Northeast High School in Columbia. Petrovic sits. And Kitchings comes back in, and Carlos Powell enters as Rolando Howell also checks out. It was Powell that came off the bench and really ignited the Gamecocks in the win over that tenacious Ole Miss team last night in the opening round. South Carolina completed the deal with Kitchings getting practically a layup to win the game. 16 seconds left at the stroke of midnight. Daniels, nice post-up maneuver against Powell.
Kentucky's really spreading the floor nicely and taking it side to side to open up opportunities in the low post. Eric Daniels with the finish.
And Powell again, immediately heard from offensively.
Taking up where he left off last night against Ole Miss. Carlos Powell, freshman, left-hander, one of 5 left-handers on this South Carolina team.
Caruth up top. Long rebound, tapped out by Marquise Estel. Nice play.
Yeah, smart play. A lot of teams don't do that. You can't grab the basketball, tip it back to your guard.
Gibson with another steal. He's got Bradley with him. Nice move. Going reversal. Jettison past J.P. Blevins.
That's what you wanted Aaron Lucas to do the play before when he had the 2-on-1. Itson, son of a coach, gives it up in the 2-on-1 perfectly.
Lead is down to 1 for Kentucky. They got out to a 7-0 lead. 11-5 run for the Gamecocks.
Nice block out. Tony Kitchens on Estel. Fundamental basketball. Put your body on a guy on the shot. Keep him off the glass.
Kitchings over Estel. Oh, smooth, soft, natural lefty.
Reminds you a little bit of Mario Austin, who we saw in the first game. Big body, who's tough to guard down low and has good touch inside.
Hayes rejected by Kitchings.
I think Kitchings likes starting, Jim.
Yes, he does. Now, much like Austin, he's also got that tremendous post-up derriere.
Yes.
There's another steal. Ibsen involved again. Numbers 3-on-2. Bradley with a tray. Hayes pulls it down. He's got 4 rebounds already. He is a workhorse on the offensive and defensive board.
Seeing some good freshmen here tonight. Chuck Hayes, one of those guys. Big body, is that's that top offensive rebounder and can pass it and score down low.
Again, the good pass to Estill and leads to a foul. Good vision out of a post-up situation, and Jamel Bradley picks up his second foul.
Well, Estill starts out at the high post. When they go low to Hayes or Daniels, he just cuts right down the lane. And the passing skills of those two young men, Daniels and Hayes, have sent Mr. Estill to the foul line.
Warren comes into the game along with Boynton. Kentucky counters with Bogans and Hawkins as Hayes and Blevins take a seat.
Both coaches doing a nice job of substituting here early. A lot of times you feel the pressure of a big ball game, you get nervous, cuts your wind down.
Timeout, and we're tied, both with a baker's dozen at 13 in the opening half. The wingspan of Ibsen, igniting this Gamecock team that was down 7-love to open the game. Kitchings. Oh, he is so smooth. They never called a right-hander the natural, Joe Dean. Only a left-hander swatting it away.
Today we're going to be doing some real home cooking. Main course is? Brick. From my very own home, in fact. And we'll just give it a taste. Bit stiff. Boost the heat a little bit.
For real home cooking taste, come in during Sonic's Home Cooking Month. Sonic's the only place to get the down-home flavor of our new Country Fried Steak Toaster Sandwich. Try one today, or any of our other toaster sandwiches.
Next, spackle casserole.
Get any large drink in our new car cup in any flavor you can dream of, now just 99 cents.
Toyota's nationwide spring event has good things waiting for you. Incredible values, a huge Toyota selection, and our amazing SUV lineup. Like the adventurous 4Runner. Now you can choose $1,000 cash back or financing as low as 1.9% APR on 4Runner. Hurry for $1,000 cash back or 1.9% financing on every new 4Runner while it lasts. Toyota's nationwide spring event. A good thing.
If I found a downtown train, my old Lord is in my vein. Burn the fast play that voodoo banjo. Yeah, black winged bird up in the tree. Dead man song he sings for me. Burn the fast play that voodoo banjo.
There's a place down the road where they live, breathe, and eat trucks. Welcome to Truckville. Dodge Ram, Dodge Dakota, Dodge Durango. Your new South Dodge dealer.
We are tied at 13 here in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. A couple of surprises today. LSU a winner against Georgia by 2. And also Mississippi State knocking off Florida. That means our SEC tournament semifinals begin at 1 Eastern, 12 Central. Fighting Tigers of John Brady taking on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And the winner of this game between South Carolina and Kentucky against number 8 Alabama. Perhaps the single most impressive showing by Bama today. Nice steal and a quick hoop for Bogans.
Eric Daniels caught the pass in midair and made the nice assist to Bogans for the layup. The Kentucky pressure intense.
A little Velcro hand.
Yes, that's right. Kentucky clearly wants to speed South Carolina up. They know when they went to Columbia, 51 points isn't going to get it here tonight.
Kitchings rejected by Estill. That was all weather. Daniels gets it out to Carew. Bogans left free for 3. Not there. Estill rejected by Warren on the way up, and it's cleared over the top to Powell. Floor not balanced, and that's a no-no.
Yeah, Powell hung back, and I don't think Cliff Hawkins saw him. Hawkins is the point guard who should cover the basket and protect the goal, and that time he fell asleep at the switch, and Carlos Powell, the freshman, got behind him.
In contrast to the first game, Joe, the officials letting them play for the most part.
I tell you, it's been that way the whole tournament, Tim. They have really let the kids bang in this SEC tournament, much the way it'll be in the NCAA tournament.
Daniels, nice sweeping jump hook in the lane. 4 for him. 17-15. 2-on-1 numbers.
Got to give that.
Oh, count it! And a foul. Warren makes the play up against Estill.
Well, the ball went in, but I don't like the play. Warren should have given that ball up right there. He got lucky. You see the excellent press offense by South Carolina. It's a 2-on-1. Bounce it across. That really could have gone either way.
Yeah, you can see Boynton was looking at him as if to say,
I'm wide open.
I'm right here.
No question.
Warren does get to the free throw line. The junior from Garland, Texas, Collin County Community College. Sort of like a heavyweight match counter-punching early on. Kentucky with a 7-0 spurt to open. South Carolina counters with an 11-4 run. We've seen some glimpses of what really are the positives for both teams.
Well, these teams have played each other twice, as we said earlier, so they know each other, and South Carolina's not intimidated. They played well last night against a good Ole Miss team, and they think they can win here against an excellent Kentucky team tonight.
This is a Kentucky team that comes into the conference tournament with a co-championship in the East with 6 losses, but with a lot of questions, more questions than usual coming into the conference tournament. You see they're heating up after that 1-for-5 start. They hit 5 of the last 7 shots from the floor. Also 5 steals to help ignite this run. Gibson, well, they ran from him. Poor shot, however. He was wide open. Would have threw it up. Daniels. He's pretty effective in there. Gibson swats it away. Petropoulos just gets his hands involved. And foul spotted by Tom Eads, and Dave Odom can't believe it.
Tough break for South Carolina. Idson with the quick hands knocked it away, but just could not get a handle on that basketball. And Petrovicius just with the foul. You see Idson, watch the block here. First he gets the block against, and then the strip. But Petrovicius just couldn't come up with it and bodied Daniels down to the floor.
Dave Odom would have preferred Petrovicius whistle rather than Idson. Hawkins not there. Clear to Chuck Idson. Bogans, Caruth, Kamara, Daniels, and Hawkins on the floor for the Big Blue. Shot clock at 20.
Great pressure by Kentucky. The man-to-man, double teaming with Hawkins, the point guard, down low. A lot of pressure on the ball.
Petropoulos in traffic, took an extra step.
And he had Kamara up in the air. Should have just kind of leaned into him to draw the foul. Didn't do it. Shuffled his feet. One of the reasons why Dave Odoms last night decided to put Tony Kitchens in the starting lineup. Petrovicius has just not responded there, and Kitchens, of course, did so last night against Ole Miss.
They still need positive minutes from Marius Petrovicius. The one thing they know about the Lithuanian, he'll never complain. He is a consummate team player.
Yes.
Logan's trying to take the baseline against Idson, and that's where that little bump earlier can really come back to haunt you. Chuck Idson now with 2, and that one giveaway a few moments ago is critical. Bradley and Idson now, each with 2 fouls.
Idson's the floor leader for South Carolina. They've got to have him out there, so we'll watch the foul situation. Bogans with that muscle drive as we see from him.
Hawkins, Petrovicius, and the foul spotted against Kentucky this time as they converge. That one against Cliff Hawkins. Warren will come into the game for Idson, saddled with 2.
The rebounding has been a war in this tournament in all games. You see the miss by Hawkins, the battle for the board, Hawkins with the foul on Petrovicius. Every time that ball goes on the glass, it's just bodies flying. It's been fun to watch in this tournament throughout.
Both teams now, Joe, in the 1-and-1. 12 minutes gone. Bradley The rainbow won't fall. Petrovicius with the putback.
Great job of Petrovicius. Chuck Hayes contested Bradley beautifully on the defense, with the big Lithuanian inside for the putback.
Bogans for three. Oh, the iron unkind to Bogans. And it has been for much of February. Jump stop by Lucas. Tough take. Kentucky is 0 for 5 from downtown. Hawkins loses his dribble. Now that is an example of his inconsistent play. 3-on-1. Howell. Count it.
The pass was tremendous, but give Rolando Howell the credit for sprinting down the floor to make himself available for the layup.
A careless turnover by Hawkins.
No question. And again, South Carolina, number of steals. We've talked about how effective they've been all year in that category. Number 1 in the SEC this year.
J.P. Blevins is going to come in on the next dead ball. Hawkins looks a little fatigued. Kamara. Not there. Pulled down by Howell.
Petrovicius with the defense. Bad shot by Kamara. Petrovicius all over him, contesting the shot. And South Carolina doing a nice job here in the first half of controlling the defensive boards. Very important for them.
7-0 this run. Nice dump down to Petrovicius. And again, the extra step. Anytime he gives the head fake, he moves the pivot.
He does, and when you coach big guys, you want them to either score or get fouled down low.
Al Odom's coached a few good ones. Remember a guy named Tim Duncan?
Not bad.
Not a bad player.
At Advance Auto Parts, we believe in doing it yourself. So we made this commercial ourselves.
We had Florence here check out the prices of our competitors versus ours. Do you have the results? But first, Florence, would you ever lie to millions of Americans who really want to believe that someone on TV is capable of telling the truth?
Never.
Go.
Advance is still the queen of low prices.
Queen, Florence?
As long as I'm here.
Queen's fine.
There's a light in your soul. Says you're one of a kind. Don't never let it go. Be original. An individual, like Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Nothing better. Be you, do what you do. Morning, Mr. Radio. Morning, little Cheerios. Morning, Sister Oreo.
Unforgettable. 99.7 JZX is Charleston's smooth jazz.
Gamecocks a mild surprise early over Kentucky, 22-17, and they've done it with their defense. We talked about their steals ability, but they've blocked shots. You see here, Kitchens with the rejection, Idson with the steal, creating offense the other way, and the block by the youngster out of Summerville, South Carolina, Aaron Lucas with the hands. A lot of deflections, active defensively. Dave Odom's team has been the #1 defensive team in the league this year. And you see, they win ball games when they hold their opponents down.
And Kentucky can't get it done. When they lose games, they shoot 24%. And that's what they're doing there. 22-17. It's a 7-0 lead for Kentucky. They've been outscored 22 to 10 cents. Bogans. You get a feeling now that teams really slough off on Chief Bogans. Leave him open. Estel, like right there, he's open. And that's why they're sloughing off.
You know, Bogans has had some opportunities here, Tim. He's not played well for Kentucky in February. He's been vilified some by the fans, and people have been critical of his play. I thought Rod Grizzard for Alabama today really stepped up. Similar situation.
Well, the thing about Grizzard, even though he does not shoot particularly well, Mark Gottfried's very wise. Late in games when he's not shooting particularly well, he knows he'll take ill-advised shots. He sits him on the bench, puts Shelton back in the game, and goes with the younger guards. That way he won't take a bad shot.
Well, true, but, you know, the other thing and why I think Grizzard was able to have the great game today that he did is that Mark Gottfried is a good motivator. He's done a nice job of keeping the pressure off of Grizzard and keeping his confidence up, and young man really responded today.
Estill in traffic, stays with it. Hayes over the back, whistled for the foul.
Other factor about Grizzard is even when he's not shooting well, he's so athletic and dynamic, he can make plays for you on the defensive end that are spectacular.
No question about it. He's got a lot of ability, and you know, I thought at halftime he had 27. We were looking at he might break the SEC tournament scoring record, 42 points, held by Melvin Turpin and Cliff Hagan. A couple of great Kentucky's stars of the past.
Kitchings gets to the free throw line with a 5-point lead. South Carolina's lead would be larger, but they turned it over 8 times, and they've had 5 traveling violations.
You know, the first time I saw Tony Kitchens, Tim, I think we were doing a game together, and he was redshirted. You remember Eddie Fogler was working him out before the game, and I told Eddie Fogler, I said, he reminds me of Bob Lanier, the big feet, big upper body, kind of rounded shoulders, and the same left-handed shot. It's amazing.
There he is from head to toe.
That's right.
Josh Carrier is coming to the game for Kentucky. Kentucky has not scored, and now 5.5 minutes. They've gone stone cold. Bogans the dump down to Hayes. Good things happen when he touches it. Carrier not there. He touches it again, makes it happen.
You got to love him. He's got great hands, and he exposes himself to the board on the shot, so he has the opportunity for the putback. Chuck Hayes, just a freshman, going to be a good one.
That breaks a 9-0 run, and the Big Blue faithful rise to attention.
Kentucky goes to the zone off the made basket.
Howell.
I tell you, that's beautiful offense by South Carolina. The flash cut into the heart of the zone, catch, shoot over the big man in the middle.
Estill short-armed it and then picked up the foul over the back.
South Carolina will always block out, so if you have a frustration after a miss, you'll likely pick up the foul by going over the back. And by the way, Powell just into the game, Joe, 3 out of 3 from the floor.
Amazing. He was, I believe, 6 for 7 last night. Exactly, 3 for 3. And again, that's what you want to see from your bench players. Come off the bench, ignite us, give us some spark. Carlos Powell has done that the last 2 nights for the Gamecocks. Missed front ends are killers. Front end right there, Tony Kitchens, an opportunity to extend the lead, couldn't convert.
Now Bogans might drive on Warren now because he extended the defense and he picks up the foul. Interesting foul to pick up because they had been giving Bogans some room, and by coming out and extending that defense, you allowed him an opportunity to drive.
And he loves to take it. He reminds me of a running back when he drives it at the hole. Big body, lowers his shoulder, and uses his strength to get the ball to the rim.
To illustrate last year, the difference, the way he played in the tournament, and he was outstanding in this tournament a year ago. Just under 22, and this year, numbers just over 10, his output through the course of the year. Problem for Bogans is his game is driving to the basket. He's a strength player. There he is with a hoop. That turns into a 3-point trip. Maybe that'll give him some confidence.
Yeah, and he showed some emotion. He turned to Tubby Smith and said, "I got one to go, coach." You know that young man wants to play well, and he gets the 19,000 Big Blue faithful on their feet here.
Lucas for 3. Hayes the rebound. 7 boards for Hayes. Bogans a tray.
Not there. Still from downtown, he struggles. 0 for 4.
This place would have exploded if that ball had gone in. South Carolina now wants to control the tempo. 3 minutes. They'd love to go in at halftime with the lead.
Bradley. A nylon song for Jamel Bradley. 29-22. He has 8.
He knew it when it left his hand. He had perfect rotation, and he played some string music, Kenny.
Kamara, too strong. Hayes, the follow. The young man is everywhere.
Carlos Powell can't handle him down low. He's too big and physical. Hayes just rooted him out in the low post for position there.
Powell and driving the baseline, and a whistle. Will go against Jules Kamara.
But at the other end, Carlos Powell, quick on the dribble down the baseline. He has really ignited South Carolina the last 2 nights with his offense.
Daniels and Estel on the floor now. Kamara sits down. Bogans also takes a seat for Tubby Smith.
It's been a fast pace.
Yes, it has.
I tell you, very energetic.
Yeah, but South Carolina has survived that pressure, that extended defense, and once they get the ball into the front court, offensively, they begin to control the game and the possession.
And that's where they have the advantage, as you say, Tim, when they do get the ball into that half-court area.
Sort of one of those battles, little coaching tug of war. Tubby Smith wants to win the battle in the backcourt. Get a turnover there and some easy buckets. That man wants control once it's in the front court. Carlos Powell and Jamel Bradley can aid and abet his cause. SEC tournament basketball rolls on in Atlanta.
Financial freedom. It has its advantages.
Better pack a sweater.
Jefferson Pilot Financial. Investments, insurance.
Imagine an interactive playground of titanic proportions. Throw in the Chick-fil-A press box featuring SEC hardwood legends Dominique Wilkins, Jeff Malone, and more. And you've got the Dr. Pepper SEC Fanfare. So during the 2002 SEC basketball tournament, stop by the Georgia World Congress Center March 7th through the 9th. Once inside, you can register for the Dr. Pepper $1 Million Shootout. Dine at the SEC TV Timeout Grill and watch all today's actions on a jumbo screen. Play the games between the games at the Dr. Pepper SEC Fanfare. Toyota's nationwide spring event is on, and that's a good thing. With incredible values on a huge selection, including the toughest nails Toyota trucks. Like Tundra. Now choose up to $2,000 cash back or financing as low as 1.9% APR for 36 months on Tundra. That's right, up to $2,000 cash back or financing as low as 1.9% on Tundra. Get to Toyota's nationwide spring event.
31-24, the Gamecocks, and during halftime of tomorrow's second semifinal telecast, we'll bring you the Dr. Pepper $1 Million Shootout. One lucky participant will try to make 5 3-point shots in 25 seconds. If he can do it, he will become an instant millionaire. The Dr. Pepper $1 Million Shootout tomorrow afternoon. Could you handle that?
Piece of cake.
Well, Barry Booker, you know, leads the all-time three-point shooting percentage shooter in this conference. He's throwing them up like a shot put now and blaming his clothing for the reason that he can't extend and get the proper rotation.
Yeah, but Barry Booker was a shooter on the move. You know, you got to be more of a spot shooter, can knock down those sets.
Ooh,
that's what.
So you're saying his game,
surely.
You're saying that his game was not as diversified, perhaps, as yours was.
Barry Booker would have played circles around me, I promise you.
Oh, a bomb squatter against a bulldog. Hayes, again finding a wide open carrier. He drives this time, and that'll be a block. It'll go against Boynton. Boy, Kentucky's shooting woes continue. Dave Odom's got to be proud of his defense, Joe. 9 of 30 from the floor for Kentucky, 0 for 8 from downtown. So, you know, the defense is living up to the advanced billing for South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina and Kentucky made 25 three-pointers collectively in the game in Rupp Arena back in mid-February. Kentucky hit 12 of those. South Carolina had 13, so a little bit different here tonight.
Carrier, it's the game to within 6. Blevins hits the deck. Crowd wanted to call, to no avail. Nice pass. Oh, another one to Howell. Carlos Powell with a baseline dish, a Mom's Sunday best dish.
But 5 guys touched it. What ball movement by South Carolina. That is teamwork basketball at its best. Beautiful.
Kentucky came out blazing with a 7-0 lead. They turned over South Carolina 4 of the first 5 possessions. Since then, the Gamecocks have answered. In traffic, Carrier looking to get it out, and a foul spotted on the reach. 1-and-1 time.
Well, this is what coaches love to see. Give the ball up, find the open man, move it quickly. You see the ball move, it never touches the floor, and the layup by Howell to finish doesn't get any better than that.
Carrier back at the free throw line. Another front end of a 1-and-1 missed.
South Carolina in the first half, the story for them, very active with their hands defensively. They've gotten a lot of deflections, number of steals. It really caused Kentucky problems on the offensive end.
Prince has been sitting a long time, Joe. Lucas, baseline is there. Blowing right past Carrier.
Like Derek Zimmerman, he can take it inside against the big people and finish it with authority. That's talent.
Hayes, underneath, gets the Gamecocks airborne. Leads to the foul.
Aaron Lucas sees the baseline opening. Boom. High percentage shot. That's impressive. And the emotion. It's March, ladies and gentlemen. These kids want to win.
Kamara comes back into the game for Carrier. Prince has only played for 4 minutes. He got 2 early fouls, and basically Tubby had to take him out of the game, much as was the case for Florida when Udonis Haslem got 2 early fouls, could never get into the flow, and that can at times have an adverse effect on your overall game.
Tubby Smith and Billy Donovan came from the Rick Pitino stable of coaches, and I guess the philosophy is 2 fouls in the first half, we sit you. Some coaches would say, let's go ahead and teach him how to play with 2 fouls in the first half.
I know in the case of Billy Donovan, it's because he feels he needs Haslem on the floor to extend his defense. And for Tubby Smith, it could be quite similar with Tayshaun Prince. Hayes right now is keeping Kentucky in this game. He's got 9 rebounds so far and a number of assists. You look out on the floor, Joe, there aren't that many options offensively for Kentucky. This is a lineup that has very few. What a save! What a save by Howell through the legs. And Dave Odom gets his 32nd timeout.
That looked like the John McEnroe tennis back between the legs at the U.S. Open. That was something. Watch this. Rolando Howell tips the ball. Now he's got to save it out of bounds. Now watch him save it. Between the legs over Kamara. Like he had eyes in the back of his head to Lucas.
Well, and the great thing about that, as magnificent a play as it was also fundamentally sound because he wanted to get it out far away from the basket.
Right.
Because that's the last thing you want to do is throw the ball closer to the opposition's basket.
It's always the cardinal rule. Don't save the ball in under your own basket. Throw it out high and hope you can scramble and get the loose ball. Rolando Howell made the winning basket last night against Ole Miss. Playing well again here tonight against the Cats.
He and Kitchings were outstanding in that game. Between the two of them, they've made enough plays to get out to this lead, 35-27. They turned over Kentucky, who came out really turning over South Carolina for their first 5 possessions. Lucas wave it off, would not count. And we're at the break. South Carolina has stunned this Kentucky crowd. A very disgruntled Big Blue congregation. An 8-point deficit facing Tubby Smith. And let's get to Dave Baker. Dave?
Coach, they came out with an awful lot of pressure early on, and then you guys were able to turn it up in the half court.
Well, we made one little adjustment. We let Chuck Hitson take the ball out as opposed to our bigger guys. We were able to get the ball back to him, and he throws the ball up the court a whole lot better than he wasn't catching the inbounds pass, and that was a problem. But I think we got that rectified, hopefully. I don't know. There's some other problems out there we hadn't gotten fixed. We got to work on those at halftime.
Your guys had some great defensive pressure in the half court as well.
Well, we have played well, but, you know, there's another half of basketball still ahead, and we've got to rebound the ball a little bit better. They're getting the ball inside too close to the basket to suit me, and, you know, we've got to do something about keeping the ball out of the middle.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck in the second half. That's South Carolina coach Dave Odom. His Gamecocks lead at 35-27. Dave Neal back with more of our halftime activities here from the 2002 SEC Tournament.
SEC basketball is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people. By your local Toyota dealers. The nationwide spring event. It's a good thing at your Toyota dealer now. By Cooper Tires. Proud to be the official tire of the Southeastern Conference. Cooper Tires. Don't give up a thing. And by Alltel. Are you connected?
We continue on late into the evening in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia Dome for the 2002 quarterfinal basketball action as we continue with the SEC basketball tournament presented by Dr. Pepper. South Carolina leading Kentucky 35-27. We continue our coverage right here on Jefferson Pilot Sports, and South Carolina pulls off an upset yesterday. They beat Ole Miss. It was an exciting, close basketball game. Many wondered if South Carolina could duplicate that feat here tonight, and so far they are proving that they are more than capable, but there is 20 more minutes of basketball just ahead. And for more on that, let's go down to the floor and check in with a couple of guys I know quite well, Tim Brando, Joe Dean Jr. And Timmy B, I got to tell you, Joe Dean told me at halftime of the other game that South Carolina had a chance if they could keep Kentucky in the 50s. Well, they're halfway home, I would assume.
Yeah, he knows his numbers, Dave. He really does.
Thanks, Dave.
You know, Joe, I've got to tell you, I'm a little amazed that Gerald Fitch has not played. I mean, he's not logged 1 minute. We talked to all of the Kentucky officials, local broadcasters, obviously, the sports information people. No one seems to know other than it's a coach's decision. And when you consider the plight of this Kentucky team and individually the plight of Estill this season, one can only speculate that we will only find out at the end of this game what lesson is being taught prior to the NCAA tournament in the SEC tournament.
Well, certainly when you're down by 8 points and you're Kentucky.
I meant to say Fitch.
Gerald Fitch, of course, is not played in this game, and he's the young man who made the three-pointer last Saturday to win on senior day against the Florida Gators. So it's a big story that he's not playing. Nobody here knows why. I'm sure we'll find out. I think Dave Baker is going to try to get some information for us by the start of the second half.
When you start talking about South Carolina, again, defensively, they had it taken to them early by Kentucky, and then it was returned to sender the rest of the half.
Well, the steals we talked about, they held Kentucky to 28% shooting and no three-point baskets by the Wildcats. Edson with the penetration. Jamel Bradley had a couple of three-pointers. He's an outstanding shooter for the Gamecocks. And then the feed inside to the zone, against the zone, Carlos Powell with the left-handed medium-range jump shot. For Kentucky, Chuck Hayes, 9 rebounds in the first half. He was outstanding, freshman out of California. And again, Keith Bogans finally knocked one down, and you see him with the emotion to his coach. I got one in.
You look at the numbers, and not one three-pointer made for Kentucky. Second chance points have kept them in the game. Hayes has really been the only guy that's been consistent for the Big Blue.
Well, and Tayshaun Prince, of course, only 5 minutes in the first half, 1 point. That and Gerald Fitch and the South Carolina defense are the stories of this game.
Kentucky is 4-2 when trailing at the half, but you got to remember the largest comeback deficit was only 3 against Tennessee and Florida. Back with more from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. The Fitch watch is on. He, by the way, is a Georgia native out of Macon. You'd think he'd love to play here.
There's a light in your soul that says you're one of a kind. Don't never let it go. Be original, an individual, like Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Be you, do what you
There are two basic ways to help protect you in an unavoidable collision. Attempt to insulate you from the unavoidable collision, or try to redefine the word unavoidable. Test drive the BMW 5 Series today.
Current plan not working out?
What?
Alltel has one that will. Get into the game with an Alltel Total Freedom plan and get nationwide calling starting at $39.95 a month. There's no roaming or long-distance charges across the U.S. Plus, you'll score a great deal on a digital phone. Alltel. Are you connected?
It's Ford's March savings event. You're going to like the wide selection, but you're going to love $2,500 cash back on Expedition, or choose 0% financing for 4 full years. It's your last chance to save big money on the 2002 Expedition, like over $8,400 in finance savings. See your Carolina Ford dealer today during Ford's March savings event.
SEC basketball is being brought to you by Don Pablo's, the real enchilada. By Ice House at Plank Road Brewery. We'll make the Ice House, you make the ads. For details, go to icehouse.com. By BMW. Visit your local BMW center for a test drive. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by Citgo. Your neighborhood Citgo is proud to support today's athletes. Citgo, we know you.
South Carolina leads by 8 as we open the second half. Moments ago, our Dave Baker spoke with Tubby Smith.
Get you real quick. Tubby, in the first half, you had good pressure early on, but then they were able to counter it a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't capitalize. When you only shoot 28% in the half, and they shoot 50, we give up all those layups, you're not going to be in a position to compete. So we've got to do a better job there in scoring.
You're in the hole a little bit in the first half. Gerald Fitch didn't play. Anything going on with him physically, or is there something else there?
No, it's just coach's decision.
All right, thanks, Tubby. Best of luck in the second half. Back to you, Timmy.
And as you mentioned, the reason it's surprised, we didn't mention it in the first half, frankly, until I started looking at the stat sheet, noticed the DNP.
Right, we were so into the game we didn't notice this, but it's obviously a big story when he says coach's decision. There's a problem.
Yes.
And, obviously we don't know what that is.
We will find out more than likely in the post-game press conference because he'll be asked. And, again, when you consider the history of this regular season, one can only speculate that there's something going on out there that only that team, that coaching staff know about.
Prince is back on the floor. He and Bogans really need to step up here in this second half if they're going to advance tonight.
Kitchings can't hit, pulled down by Prince. Tayshaun needs to get out to a quality start. And he does. (35-29).
You can't put enough value on your best player and his leadership and his presence. Prince has gotten the crowd into this game. It's like a home game here for Kentucky.
His first field goal comes to open the second half.
Whoa.
Bradley answers with a rainbow J. He has 11.
Third for Jamel Bradley. And again, another deflection. Just amazed at the quick hands of South Carolina.
Dixon into Howell. Missed the chippy.
Oh, mercy. That's why Dave Odom has some gray hairs up on that top of his.
Hawkins using the glass nicely. He has 4. got a whistle. I think Howell got poked in the eye.
Timmy, you mentioned it. How important. Okay, Jamel Bradley on the nice reversal by Itson knocks down a big three. And Prince, as you mentioned, to get off to a quality start off the right-hand dribble and over Itson's long arms, Prince with the basket.
So after a quick injury timeout, South Carolina will trigger it in. Tim Brando, Joe Dean Jr., Dave Baker. Our host is Dave Neal. Our evening crew here at the Southeastern Conference Tournament on Jefferson Pilot Sports. Happy to have you with us on the day of surprises. Mississippi State knocking off the Florida Gators. And the 4th seed out of the West, LSU being the top seed out of the East, Georgia. Howell on the low block. Kitchings with the tip in.
Anytime you take it inside, you force the defense to have to react to that from an alignment standpoint. It opens up offensive rebounding chances. Kitchens was on the weak side of the board.
Another steal. Lucas saves it. Had no one to throw it to, and he was caught in midair. Kamara stuffed by Kitchings. Stays with it and gets it back up the second time around.
Jules Kamara has really come on the last half of the season, scoring several double-figure games and just becoming more of a low-post threat, as we saw right there for the Big Blue.
He's one of those players, Joe, that has responded in certain game situations to Tutty.
No question about it.
Picked off by Prince. There he is. Stays with it. Loose ball, Hayes gives it up to Kitchings.
Kitchings got up off the deck to get that rebound. Good control by Itson. Get it inside. Force the defense to have to decide how they want to guard the post. Hawkins is trapping from the perimeter down on the low post.
Howell working pick and roll with Bradley. Blows past Kamara and gets him airborne for the foul.
We documented Tony Kitchens in the open, how important he has been to the resurgence of South Carolina in this tournament. You see the weak side board, the big fella in position, and then watch the block here. Nice defensive play. Kamara stays with it, gets it in, but Tony Kitchens making his presence felt down in the low post area for South Carolina.
Jamel Bradley at the line has 11. He's 3 of 6 from downtown tonight. Carlos Powell checks into the game for South Carolina, coming in for Rolando Howell. This is a Kentucky team that shot less than 30% in the first half. And South Carolina's ball denial, the ability to get into passing lanes and trigger turnovers for easy points, that was really the difference in getting out to that at one-time double-digit lead.
I think they also have intimidated Kentucky, if that's possible, just a little bit with all the deflections, the way they've gotten their hands on so many balls in the first half.
Bogans still struggling from downtown. 0 for 5, Keith Bogan.
And Kitchens with the defensive board continues to play well.
Prince trying to get in the passing lane.
Kentucky will man-to-man on the out-of-bounds. We've seen one zone possession by Kentucky. South Carolina scored against it.
Itson off the bounce. Shot clock under 5. Lucas, a fall away, Jay. Oh!
That's where you say, if you're a South Carolina fan, we got a chance tonight if we're making shots like that.
Equaling the largest lead of the night. Back up to 10.
Itson took away the left-handed dribble that time.
Kamara working on Kitchings. Quick double by Lucas in the tie ball.
We saw Hawkins do the same thing on the other end for Kentucky, and Lucas from the perimeter knifes down, double teams the low post, and gets the jump.
Lucas playing well on both ends of the floor. Oh, you can feel it. Tying up the Cats on defense and bewildering them offensively.
Financial freedom. It has its advantages.
Better pack a sweater.
Jefferson Pilot Financial. Investments, insurance.
Another do-it-yourself commercial from Advance Auto Parts.
At Advance, we stock a lot of parts. Who cares if we don't have the one you need? Robbie Cam will demonstrate we do. Robbie, distributing for a 92 T-Bird. Find it! Go!
Got it!
Fetch me a locking hub for an 87 Wrangler.
Check!
Fuel injector for 75 Dodge Charger.
75 Charger doesn't have fuel injectors.
Correct. Proof that at Advance, the best part is our people.
Who's your daddy?
What does waking up smell like? Like trading bed sheets for bath sheets. Like letting it all soak in. Like breathing in the fresh new day and diving in head first. Like the freshness of Downy Invigorating Burst. Bright, exhilarating freshness that launches you into each and every day. Awaken to the freshness of Invigorating Burst. A quick toss of the Downy ball as you start the wash releases freshness in the rinse. Downy.
Gamecocks equaling their largest lead, and Dave Baker has more. Dave?
Tim, you know this team has been referred to as team turmoil a lot this year, but Tubby Smith has not been afraid to make tough decisions. Gerald Fitch sat out at Vanderbilt last week. They lost that game, and in turn that loss possibly cost them the #1 seed in the SEC East. Also, Adam Childs, little-used freshman out of Louisville, Kentucky, not on the bench tonight. He was left at home, suspended for a violation of team rules, so the troubles on and off the court continue for the Cats.
And as you say that, yet another pickpocket. This one by Carlos Powell.
That's been the story for South Carolina, the quick hands all night.
Bradley, an air ball, hits it on the deck trying to save it, but not. Out of bounds to Kentucky. You know, the Wildcats have gone 469 games with at least one three-pointer. And tonight, they're 0 for 10. Now, that's going back since the three was brought into the game. Now, that's 15-plus years worth of games. And tonight, 0 for.
That's a big story, obviously, and you've got to credit that South Carolina defense. Nice pass by Prince. Chuck Hayes again with that big body and very quick in the lane to get himself open for the shot opportunities.
The more they get it to Hayes, the more good things are going to happen for Kentucky. Lucas under pressure from Hawkins. Good defensive sequence by Cliff Hawkins.
Excellent by Hawkins.
Bogans over the top. And he's fouled. Bradley was in position. If it's against Jamel, that'll be his third.
Two outstanding plays by Cliff Hawkins. First, contesting Lucas. The officials are letting him play. That could have been a foul, but no. Letting him go, and at the other end, Keith Bogans made a beautiful catch. Watch him catch this thing, almost going out of bounds, gathers himself and draws the foul.
Rolando Howell comes in. Powell sits down. Michael Boynton also into the game for Aaron Lucas. Hawkins had a nice play defensively a moment ago, but South Carolina guards are getting the better of Kentucky tonight. Lucas and Bradley, 18 between them. Hawkins and Bogans, 10. They're a collective 0 for 6 from downtown.
Kentucky pressure again. South Carolina handles it nicely. Boynton, a quick player out of Brooklyn, New York.
Petroficius down low against Estel. He needs help. Finally gets some from Bradley.
Going back to him, that's nice.
Jump hook in the paint, not there. And the foul. Over the top against Petroficius, his first.
Petroficius used his dribble the first time. Got caught, stuck. He threw it out. They went back to him. I like that. They're showing some confidence, but he just could not finish the little 3-foot jump hook.
Well, not a bad idea because he has been struggling offensively.
That's right, exactly. Teammates trying to get him going. That's a good thing.
Hayes flashes to the post. He has Howell on his hip. Short arm that one. Boynton comes out of there with it. Hawkins again, a deflection. Leads to a turnover. Howell gets in the passing lane, takes it back. They go back into Marius. That time a tough pass. Turned it over. He had a good shot, gave it up, trying to give Rolando Howell an opportunity. Petrobras just checks out.
And Howell was wide open. A good pass would have been a dunk for Rolando Howell. Petrobras could not make the play. Kitchens is back.
So Kitchens, Howell, Boynton, Bradley, and Itzen on the floor for the Gamecocks.
South Carolina has been man-to-man the entire game. They want block-out responsibilities, and that's why they play the man as opposed to the zone.
Itzen gets that wingspan in there again.
Look at the hands.
Oh, every loose ball belongs to the Gamecocks. Itzen.
The deflections, the quick hands, the steals has led to tremendous defense by South Carolina. And that's why they lead this game, and that time it led to an easy dunk for Itzen.
You know, you'd never know it, Joe, because he's done such a great job in every other aspect of his game. That was Itzen's first basket. You know, his impact was so great beyond that. Bradley picks up his 4th foul, and that is huge.
Well, watch the defense on the All-American Prince. Itzen with the long arms, a great hustle by Kitchens, and Lucas comes up with it. The assist, Kitchens with the feed. And Timmy, you know, Itzen reminds me a lot of LSU's Jermaine Williams. They don't score a lot, they don't look to shoot a lot, but as you said, their impact is enormous with their steals, their defending, passing the ball, rebounding at 6'7". Jermaine Williams does that for LSU. Itzen here for the Gamecocks.
A lot of time left, and Bradley picking up that 4th could be crucial. He's played well along the perimeter tonight. Prince off the front iron. Estel with a push. Marquise Estel blocked out beautifully by Kitchens. Picks up the foul, his 3rd.
Dave Odom has told his team, we're going to keep Kentucky in front of us. Contest the shots, block out, fundamental defense right here to get the defensive position. See the block out? The push is why Kentucky got the rebound. The Gamecocks go the other way.
Itzen running through picks, has Hawkins with him. And Hawkins kicked it. Oh, fresh 35. I'll tell you, Hawkins has come back in the second half and played well defensively. He got burned a number of times in the first half.
Well, he's a tough kid. He came out of a winning program, Oak Hill Academy in Virginia. Knows how to win. He's won here at Kentucky. And defensively, he's going to get all over Michael Boynton, who is off the bench at the point. Listen to this. You hear that, Timmy? We want Fitch. Is what the Kentucky fans are hollering. Well, I don't think I've ever heard something like that.
There are reasons that only Tubby Smith would know, and we don't, as to why he's not in the game. Boynton rams it home. Michael Boynton with a tray.
That is a bonus basket for South Carolina. Boynton is not a big scorer. And to step up and knock down a big 3, big for the Gamecocks.
Well, if you think 19,000 plus screaming, "We want Finch," is going to change Tubby Smith's mind.
No way. That isn't going to happen. He's his own man. Everybody knows that.
Estel swatted away by Kitchens again.
Okay, they have been amazing. South Carolina tonight with the blocks, the steals, the deflections.
Foul off the ball, spotted by Rick Crawford.
When you don't score on offense, it hurts your confidence and your intensity on defense, and that's what we're seeing. Kentucky late getting into the low post defensive position.
48-37, and the cries for "We want Fitch" to no avail. Kentucky still down.
There are 2 basic ways to help protect you in an unavoidable collision. insulate you from the unavoidable collision, or try to redefine the word unavoidable. Test drive the BMW 5 Series today.
Don Pablo the real enchilada. Let go, amigo. Let go, amigo. Don Pablo's real enchilada.
Try the new steak and chicken real enchilada platter, only at Don Pablo's. Only $7.99.
Don Pablo, I want the real enchilada. Don Pablo the real enchilada.
Get ready for the brand new, hilarious musical stage play. It's All Men Can't Be Dogs. It's a funny look at how some men and women are on different pages. Starring Morris Day from The Time, Chris Poole from Commissioned, Leah Page from Witness, and the sensational Sunshine Anderson. All Men Can't Be Dogs. March 17th at the Gaylord Auditorium. Tickets available at the Gaylord Auditorium box office. All Ticketmaster outlets are charged by phone.
48-37, South Carolina leading by 11 with just over 11 to play. Tim Brando, Joe Dean Jr., happy to have you with us. And Gamecocks solidly in control of this game. And Joe, you and I were talking during the break. In the years that we've been following college basketball in the SEC and beyond, I've never heard, unless it was at mop-up time with maybe a walk-on player, screams in unison for a player to get in the game. That is as bizarre as any situation I've ever seen.
I agree 100%. You know, it's just the frustration of the fans. They obviously have very, very high expectations for their Kentucky basketball team. 8 losses is not acceptable to them.
Well, by the way, the frustration's not only for a few players for Kentucky tonight, but how about Hayes shut down to 11 today. Brilliant job defensively by Brady's team, although they gave up 76 points. Haslam and Dudley also. That was more of Grizzard's game than it was Erwin Dudley's.
Grizzard really put on a performance today. I mean, he was just unbelievable. As good a performance as I've ever seen in this tournament.
Boyden with a dump down to Howell. Gets it back. Boy, he's feeling it now, too.
2 of them.
Davey Odom with fists in the air. He can feel it. South Carolina 6 of 12 from downtown. Hawkins barely drew iron. Pulled down by Kitchings.
And Kentucky still without a 3-point basket. Tim, that's another amazing story here. Kind of the subplot of this ball game. South Carolina just controlling this thing. It's been amazing.
8-0 run now for the Gamecocks. Ball knocked out of bounds. It will be controlled to South Carolina in a 5-minute Kentucky drought.
Michael Boynton was highly recruited out of Brooklyn, New York. The left-hander knocks down the 3. And Jamel Bradley likes his teammate. He says, look, I'm the best 3-point shooter on this team, Michael, but you can have some center stage for a few minutes.
Three-pointers, the difference in the game, really. An 18-0 shutout for South Carolina. Lucas again.
So if that would have gone in, we might have just packed up and gone home.
J.P. Blevins is on the floor now with Daniels, Hayes, Bogans, and Prince. Hayes double-teamed and stays with it. And finally the whistle. Tom Eade spots the foul. And it will go against Rolando Howell.
Rolando Howell can't believe it. He held his positions, kept his hands up, and Hayes just tried to bull his way through him, and Dave Odom, he's questioning that a little bit as well.
He gave it a wow.
Yeah.
Say what you want, Joe, and this crowd is silent now. Bogans and Prince had better start making plays.
There's no question.
I mean, this guy's got to start making plays.
Yeah.
Neither of them have. Say what you want about Fitch not being in the game. Now Kentucky is 0 for 13 from downtown. These are the big-time players and the veteran guys that have gotten you here in the past and need to take you where you want to go again this March.
Your key guys have to step up and make the plays at this time of the year. Rashad Caruth is going to come in the game. He's a three-point shooter for Kentucky.
Kitchings, sweeping baby hook in the lane. He has 8, and the lead opens up to a whopping 16. As sluggish as Kentucky looks offensively, 16 feels like 30.
No question.
Finally an easy one as Daniels finds Tayshaun.
Well, they're going inside, and they've done that successfully, but Kentucky's got to find the range from three-point land if they're going to get back in this game.
Dixon will also come in on the next dead ball, as will Mark Resesto.
South Carolina will not be in a hurry. They're going to make Kentucky play defense, which is smart with 8 minutes to go and a 14-point lead. Keep the pressure on the Kentucky defense.
Oh, this is a dream come true for Odom's style of play.
No question.
Howell.
Wow, is he quick?
And that's too easy.
That's nice. And off the left-hand dribble, too. When you have a 6'8" guy who can post up and go out on the floor and drive it to the goal, that's quite an offensive weapon.
Prince, baseline extended, gets one to fall.
There are a lot of guys in the SEC that can do that. We saw Vincent Yarbrough today, Grizzard, Ronald Dupree at LSU. That time, Tayshaun Prince. A lot of big guys, 6'7", 8'9", in the SEC who can go inside and out.
Howell wants it. Off the front rim. Bogans clears for Kentucky. Hayes. And a push from Kitchings this time.
Smart play by Hayes. He knows that he's quicker than Tony Kitchens. And the minute he caught it, he spun quickly to the baseline and got the hand check.
2 on Kitchings, but Tony has had it going on the other end of the floor. They've left the Big Blue looking awfully lethargic on the defensive end. Carlos Howell, a major factor. Howell and company, and a 14-point cushion.
You forgot the pickles.
There's a light in your soul, says you're one of a kind. Don't never let it go. Be original, an individual, like Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Nothing better. Be you, do what you do.
There are 2 basic ways to help protect you in an unavoidable collision. Attempt to insulate you from the unavoidable collision, or try to redefine the word unavoidable. Test drive the BMW 5 Series today.
Having played one of the fantastic finishes this season, Kentucky's Cliff Hawkins came up big. South Carolina had control of the game, hit this runner for a 51-50 win in Columbia. Then in the rematch, a different story. Tayshaun Prince and Gerald Fitch lit up the Gamecocks, a 91-74 drubbing at Rupp Arena. But tonight, Fitch is a DNP coach's decision. And that word coming from Tubby Smith in an interview with Dave Baker at halftime. And the defiant reaction of the fan base cries for "We want Fitch" in unison, loud enough for us to hear very clearly over the airwaves. And this has now become as passive a Kentucky crowd in the Georgia Dome, in the place they used to call Catlanta, as I can ever recall. Baruch can't get it to fall. Halfway through the cylinder and out. 0 for 14 now from downtown.
South Carolina will look to go inside. They have done it all night. Did it last night to beat Ole Miss.
Kitchens is fielded, and that's Bob Lanier right there.
Oh, it is.
Ball back, the leaner, the left-hander. Tony Kitchens is coming into his own here in the SEC tournament.
Double-double for
Look at him
already.
on the floor.
Yep. And Powell, I think, may have been whistled for the reach-in. Kitchens now 10 points, 10 rebounds.
When you score offensively, it just makes you feel better. The banker by Kitchens, and at the other end, he's guarding everybody. Diving on the floor, rebounding. I mean, he feels good about himself because he's able to score some points and contribute to his team's effort.
There you see the run now, 14-4 in the last 8:15. Daniels takes a seat. Blevins, Prince, Hawkins will also come in a moment. He'll come in for Blevins. Jamel Bradley saddled with 4, but right now he's not missed. Boynton has played well coming in, as has Lucas. Prince a runner, short on it. Pulled down by Kitchens.
Gobbled it up. He gobbled up that rebound. I tell you, that young man has really lifted South Carolina. And Dave Odom, what a coaching move for him to start him in this tournament. And that young man has responded.
Lucas is rejected by Estill. Kitchens rejected by Marquise. 2 swats for Estill. Hawkins trying to get in the way. Forcing it back to Itzen. Now numbers. Kitchens would have counted had it fallen. Estill picks up the personal.
Well, you see right here on the block, looked like the ball didn't hit the rim, and I think it did glaze it. And, of course, Estill with the block. There was some question whether the shot clock should have been reset. It was reset. And then South Carolina, against the Kentucky pressure, penetrated 3-on-2 to get the Kitchens to the foul line.
The announcers for tonight's game selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. Any use of the broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited. Yet another foul inside again. Joe, South Carolina rendering this Kentucky team lethargic.
Yeah.
So much quicker to the ball.
Quicker to the ball is right. Active hands. They just seem to want it more. Tim, plain and simple. They've lost twice to the Big Blue during the regular season. We've mentioned the one-point heartbreaker in Columbia, and they came out tonight and have just outplayed Kentucky.
Fans may want to talk about the Estill factor, and believe me, it'll be a big story in the postscript of this game. I'm sorry, did I say Estill again? I meant to say Fitch, the Gerald Fitch factor.
Correct.
But there's no question that South Carolina is in every way taking it to Kentucky.
Well, I think even if Fitch had played tonight, of course, this game is not over. We act like it is. Carolina's in control, but even if Fitch was on the floor, I think Carolina would still be in control of this game the way they have played. Just a step behind. You see,
they really are.
A step behind. The drive to the baseline by Powell.
Tayshaun now has 4. Total attendance tonight is 22,508. Of those, I gotta believe 75, maybe 80%.
Yes.
Big Blue faithful. Those Georgia tickets that were available may remain available. Send out an APB for some LSU fans and more Mississippi State fans. Maybe some South Carolina fans. The way this is looking, you're going to have 3 teams from the West and a 6th seed from the East on semifinal Saturday.
How ironic is that when at the beginning of the year, throughout the year, everybody lauded the Eastern Division as the toughest league with Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and here the West with Alabama, the conference champ, LSU, an upstart, and a very underrated Mississippi State team. Rick Stansbury, what a great job he has done this year. 3 teams from the West, and then if Carolina hangs on, the 6th seed of the East
That's who we've got in the semifinals tomorrow. Again, I think, Tim, it shows the great balance and depth of this league.
Yes, it does. You measure the strength of a conference from the bottom up. Prince gets the run out, has numbers. Takes it all the way, gets the block. Lucas, the guilty party for South Carolina. And Tayshawn having to take a little extra time to get up.
Tayshawn wants to dunk this ball right here, but you see Lucas got in front. The blocking foul. Good call by Tom Eads, the official. And wow, that hurts. What a great career that young man has had from Compton, California. Player of the year last year as a junior. Gave up that honor to Erwin Dudley this year from Alabama. But at 6'9", that young man can do it all. And tonight, missing in action, Tim.
Yeah, and for much of the season, missing in action. Unfortunate because one of the reasons for the preseason expectations, the return of both players. But we've seen it at other places. Frank Williams of Illinois struggled in early January. Had a very bad season. But he picked it up in late February and got Illinois a share of the Big Ten title.
Boy, look how quick Lucas is, splitting double teams. On the other end,
he went the wrong way there. Very on one, he had Rolando Howell on the right side. He chose to throw it to the left. Howell just kind of winked at him and said, "Don't worry about it. Catch me next time."
Dave Boyden has played well.
You know, you read my mind. I was just thinking that when he caught the pass out front. 2 threes tonight. He's done a nice job off the bench. Howell has played well off the bench. Chris Warren has done a nice job as well off Dave Odom's bench for the Gamecocks.
Class of 2000s, overshadowed really by a number of other New York guards, point guards, guys like Omar Cook, Andre Barrett,
Malik Brown. Young man has played big time and a major contributor.
There it is.
Tayshaun Prince gets a tray, the first one of the night for Kentucky. 1 for 15 as a team. The streak now lives at 470 consecutive games with a three-pointer for Kentucky. Still, the lead is 13. And South Carolina in a position to milk clock each time. And a 30-second timeout taken by the Gamecocks. It'll be a full. Tubby Smith regathers his troops. Still some time. They're going to have to figure out a way to get the ball away from South Carolina, as they did early when they got out to a 7-0 lead. Who knew then what we now know? The shadow knows in Columbia.
At Advance, we believe in doing it yourself. So we made this commercial ourselves.
Hey, Charles. What are you doing?
Just getting ready to install a new battery out there for a customer.
I see. Pretty cool outfit. Wow. Well, where'd you get those awesome goggles, battery guy?
Money.
Battery guy walks the earth searching for battery.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Battery Guy. Bow before him.
There are 2 basic ways to help protect you in an unavoidable collision. Attempt to insulate you from the unavoidable collision, or try to redefine the word unavoidable. Test drive the BMW 5 Series today.
Cooper Tire is proud to be the official tire of the Southeastern Conference. Cooper Tires, drive on.
Surprise in Atlanta. 3:31 to go. South Carolina over Kentucky, 59-46. The best decision of the tournament. Dave Odom starts Tony Kitchens in this tournament, and this young man has responded. Rejections, scoring inside with the Bob Lanier turnaround bank. Inside the move to the middle, the left-hand jump hook. The big fella has done it all for South Carolina over Kentucky here tonight. You see him, number 50, and
I tell you, there's really nothing that he has not done or accomplished on the offensive end. And a double-double.
Yeah.
Look at that.
10 and 13, 4 of 8 field goals. Nice night, Tony. Good work.
Talking up his teammates on the floor. And Hawkins with a bump of Boynton. Mentioned the New York guard Boynton out of Bishop Laughlin High School in Brooklyn, New York. Hawkins picks up the foul. Carlos Powell leaves. Kitchings comes in. I'll tell you, Dave Odom sending a sharp message as to his ability in breaking down a game. And so close this year. You know, we talked about those tough losses for Tennessee. He lost games in bizarre fashion all year long as well. 15-point lead at home late. Alabama comes back with a miracle win. Kentucky, Hawkins throws up the prayer on the runner. Wins by 1 when he controlled that game most of the way.
You know, he's got a very similar situation tomorrow, Dave Odom. The 1-point loss at home, Alabama, similar to what happened to him against Kentucky. They led by 15 late. Alabama came back. One of the reasons they won the conference title. And that's what we'll have here tomorrow afternoon.
Some people might suggest that the bracket has really opened up for Alabama. I would suggest these 3 surprises could be interesting to watch. Estill misses from point-blank range and is finally hacked. Both Howell and Kitchings were in position to pick it up. Kitchings gets the foul. It's his 3rd.
Marquise Estill's got a lot of ability. 6'9" junior, Richmond, Madison Central High School, just outside Lexington. A big guy with long arms, can shoot the basketball, block shots. That's the story right there tonight. You see that Kentucky bench.
Timeout, 2:55 remaining. And the Big Blue faithful not showing much faith now. We'll return after these messages from your local SEC stations.
Thirsty Thursday is Carolina Ice South night when your South Carolina Stingrays battle the Florida Everblades. Face off 7 p.m. Friday is Labatt night as the Stingrays tangle with the Columbia Inferno. Face off 7:30 p.m.
Nice guys, wicked hockey.
South Carolina Stingrays. Get your tickets today.
With the help of the spirits and my tarot cards, we have your answer. Call now and try it for free. He likes to fish, right?
Yeah, he goes fishing all the time.
The man loves you desperately. You understand me? When you met him, he was coming out of a bad time in his life. He had done a little bit of probation time, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, my God, I cannot believe it, how right you are.
Call now and try it for free.
Call 1-800-366-9445.
I'm a foster parent.
We're foster parents.
I am a foster parent.
These are the faces of the foster parents of Greater Charleston. For more information on how you can become a foster parent, call 1-800-588-1543. Homes with Heart, bringing home Charleston's children.
Is this it?
JP Sports exclusive coverage of the 2002 SEC Basketball Tournament is presented by Dr. Pepper and has been brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Be you. Do what you do. Dr. Pepper. By Citgo. Your neighborhood Citgo is proud to support today's athletes. Citgo. We know you. By Don Pablo's, the real enchilada. By Ice House. At Plank Road Brewery, we'll make the Ice House. You make the ads. For details, go to icehouse.com. And by BMW. Visit your local BMW center for a test drive. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
The most tradition-rich program in the Southeastern Conference in basketball, Kentucky, being shocked tonight by South Carolina, 60-47. We told you at the top, Tubby Smith in this building in March, 13-1. Hawkins trying to deny and takes down Mr. Wildcat and some Gatorade along the way. Nice effort on the part of Cliff Hawkins. And Kentucky fans that are here applaud his effort. But remember, Joe, Kentucky has won 26 of its last 28 tournament games. They're going for their 100th career tournament win.
That's unbelievable. Of course, 8 of the last 10 tournament championships have been won by Kentucky. As you see, Cliff Hawkins going right over the top of Bill Kitely, Mr. Wildcat.
Well, he's seen a few, hasn't he? There are a lot of coaches that wish they had Kitely's tenure, right?
That's the truth. And still going strong is Bill Kitely.
I think Mike Sutton's okay, too. He's getting his notes back.
Howell. Wow, that's pretty. Really rose up nicely there over the top of Prince to knock down that short-range jump shot.
62-47, 15-point lead. Big Blue has never really challenged in this game. Prince, not there. Bogans and Prince playing in their final SEC tournament games. When you consider the rich tradition that they've had, the championships that they've won. As I mentioned, this was for number 100 in SEC tournament wins. It's a bitter pill for them to swallow as players. But they absolutely had it taken to them tonight. The other question, Joe, will be, I think, boy, it's not Bogans' final game. Potentially, right? Potentially. Prince dumping it down to Bogans. And he's fouled inside.
Yeah, it's been tough for Bogans the last month or so of the season. He has just not done a good job. And as you see, the Ice House players of the game, Tony Kitchens and Chuck Hayes. How about that? Both 10 points and 13 rebounds.
Not often you see that, Ice House players of the game. Both were 4 for 8 from the floor. And I tell you, Hayes, you really have to applaud the way that young man played. Outnumbered on the low block by the likes of Kitchens and Howell and Petrofagus.
Well, he's got a good nose for the ball. We talked about his size and strength, but he has quick feet. He does a good job getting to the glass.
13-point lead. Kentucky still extending and pressuring.
Stepped on the line, Boynton.
Alabama's T.R. Dunn scouting for tomorrow. Still looks like he could play.
I tell you, he was a great one. And, you know, he's the poster boy for defense in basketball. Played 14 years in the NBA. I think he averaged about 6 or 7 points a game. He did it because he was an incredible defender throughout his career.
Bogans runs it down, takes it inside. Misses a layup. Daniels the tip, and a quick timeout. 62-51 with 1:44 to play. Let's take a look now at our all-tell play of the game, Joe.
But I tell you, early in the second half, when Aaron Lucas had the shot clock running down and he had a fall away from 30 feet that played string music for the Gamecocks, Bradley's emotion was there. He loved it. The all-tell play of the game, I think, spoke volumes at that particular point in the ballgame.
You know, when Jamel Bradley got his 4th foul, Joe, it appeared to be crucial. A lot has changed since.
Who would have thunk that one, Timmy? In the semifinal tomorrow, the first one, LSU, Mississippi State. Wouldn't have given much chance if that would have happened, but it is, and South Carolina, Alabama.
Well, a 6th seed and 3 Western Division schools in the semifinal of the Southeastern Conference Tournament. Expect the unexpected in this league. Hawkins gets the foul. Lucas gets to the free throw line. You know, Aaron Lucas was one of those players, Joe, who was in a situation at the free throw line, up 3, a 2-shot foul, and they wound up losing the game.
At Georgia, that's exactly right. Less than 2 weeks ago. Rashad Wright hit a miracle 3 for Jim Herrick's team.
He gets both with the lead back to 13. Bogans cuts to the lane. Gets it done over Kitchens. Gibson is free, but Lucas is fouled quickly by Hayes.
Didn't see him.
Well, he was wide open, wasn't he?
You know, one of the interesting things, Tubby Smith, you see him talking to Mike Sutton, was once an assistant coach at South Carolina. He worked for George Felton. Went to the NCAA tournament once under George Felton. Then when Tubby came back to Kentucky as the head coach, he hired George Felton as an assistant. George Felton now a pro scout in the NBA.
He and David Hobbs worked together at Virginia Commonwealth.
That's right. David Hobbs, of course, on his staff, former head coach at the University of Alabama.
He was working for J.D. Barnett. Blast from the past there,
right. One of the legendary coaches in the game, J.D. Barnett.
Itson with a steal. Kitchings has him on the wing, and he failed to give it up and lost his dribble, and Dave Odom's a little upset with him.
Dave Odom says, Tony, you're a post-up guy. What are you doing? You're not Pistol Pete Maravich. Post up.
Dave is talking to Rick Crawford, the assistant, like, what is my guy thinking?
The fans are coaching again, telling Hawkins to shoot the ball.
Bogans finds Daniels. Goes reverse and gets the deuce. 11-point game and a 30-second timeout taken by Tubby Smith. Dave Odom's former team, the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest, in the ACC tournament, winners over Georgia Tech 92-83. They've got a very athletic club. I'll tell you another guy that's going to be pleased at the way this South Carolina team has responded is Eddie Fogler. Because most of these guys, well, all of these guys are people he brought in, and they're experiencing some success here.
Well, that's right. Eddie Fogler built this program into an SEC championship team back in 1997, and the last time Kentucky lost senior day was to Eddie Fogler's South Carolina team in March of 97, but he should be proud of his guys. They've done a great job here tonight.
He and Dave Odom correspond on a regular basis.
You know, Kentucky has beaten South Carolina 12 straight games, Tim. The last one is the one I just mentioned in early March of 97 when South Carolina under Eddie Fogler was making its run to the SEC title. Won on senior day in Rupp Arena. Since that time, 12 straight Kentucky victories over the Gamecocks until tonight.
Now, I recall that game. That was the Mackey-Watson group,
right?
That would later be taken out by Coppin State. 15 seed took them out as a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They were deep banged in that game, Coppin State. Boyden at the free throw line gets the first to go.
You know, another significant point about that game, B.J. Mackey had the throat slash sign after that ball game, and that prompted the NCAA to ban that, the SEC, to ban that from the sportsmanship ledger.
Bogans. Hawkins up top. 3-point woes all night long for Kentucky. Only one made through the course of this night.
Kitchens said, I'm not taking it in this time. I want Coach Odom to keep starting me in this tournament. I like starting.
You know, you were talking about the throat slash maneuver.
Right.
In the NCAA tournament, Arthur Lee of Stanford did the same thing to Jim Herrick's Rhode Island team.
Interesting.
After they had pulled off a tremendous upset coming from 6 down in the last minute to make their way into the Final Four at the Midwest Regionals that year.
I'm interested in this matchup tomorrow with Alabama. Again, they played each other once. Alabama from the West. As you see, no East 6C team has ever gotten to beyond the quarterfinals. First time tonight.
So a little history.
Exactly. But Alabama came back from 15 down. South Carolina lost by 1, just like they did at Kentucky at home. And case in point, Tony Kitchens that night only played 13 minutes in the game against Alabama, was a non-factor. Dave Odom said coming into this tournament, Tony Kitchens is the one player on our squad who can make us better, and certainly he has helped drive them into the semifinals here in this tournament.
They've been a remarkable story, no doubt about that. Hayes for 3. Loose ball, Boyden gets it out to Lucas.
And the quick foul by Hawkins.
Well, Joe, I've got to ask you, you've been around the SEC for a long time. You spent time on Joe B. Hall's staff at Kentucky. You know what the scrutiny is like at Rupp Arena. This is going to be the biggest story in the postscript, why Gerald Fitch did not play. And you heard Tubby Smith tell Dave Baker at halftime coach's decision, which does indicate that something beyond the way the game is played and the matchups on the floor are the reasons behind his not being on the court.
Well, Joe Hall used to talk a lot about the fact that Kentucky basketball, you're in a fishbowl 365 days a year. The scrutiny that you have on your program is absolutely unbelievable. And everything at Kentucky is magnified. It's the biggest thing in the state. These folks live and die. I mean, 19,000 didn't show up here tonight just because they happen to like basketball. They love their Big Blue, and they're not going to be happy tonight.
It will be the first question asked by the press corps of Tubby Smith in the postscript of the game.
It bothers me a little bit. I know the